Hi, thank you for meeting with me today. I'm Leah, I'm going to be the new principal at the school. And just looking at the units and the curriculum that we have at the school, I've noticed that the sciences unit for foundation is a bit lacking. I don't think it properly covers the biological sciences aspect, and I think it needs a little bit of a rework. But I've heard that you guys have a proposed unit plan for me, which I'm excited to hear. So things I'm sort of looking for are, obviously, it needs to align itself with the school ethos of preparing the students for the future. So that's looking at, it needs to relate to real life scenarios like farming and agriculture and renewable food sources. It also needs to be very hands-on and needs to engage all students, so that's the EAL students, the students with physical or mental impairments, and those are probably just my main points. I'm excited to hear from you.
Okay, well, moving on from what you said, our unit that we're here to present to you today is called Building Herb Patches for Growth and Knowledge, which coincidentally, it is designed for foundation students to create, grow and maintain a herb garden, or herb patch, whatever you want to call it, that can be used as a food supply or a food source for the school's canteen, basically to encourage that idea of eating healthy and eating green. In saying that, we can actually use this unit and modify it for the older years, but instead of just growing herb patches, we could also extend upon that and possibly grow vegetables to again supply for the school's canteen to encourage it sort of healthy eating. With this unit, it's been designed through the 4 stages of design, which are investigate, so basically gathering research, understanding content. Design, which basically is coming up with the students coming up with their own designs for their herb patches, which they'll implement. Create, which is the actual process of creating their herb patches physically. And evaluate, so where the students actually reflect on what they've made, what they could have done better, and what they could do next time, possibly to improve it as well. And each of these offer differing learning experiences which are embedded to develop those critical skills of investigation. This unit, it incorporates the disciplines of science, or biological sciences specifically, design and technology, and while promoting literacy and numeracy skills, and with sustainability as a cross-curricular priority, of course. With this unit, there will be a total of 8 lessons. 1 lesson will be dedicated to the introduction to biological sciences. In this case, the unit focuses on living things, how they grow, and the basic needs that they need to survive. 1 lesson will be for the introduction of sustainability. 1 lesson will be dedicated for the investigation stage, to allow them to research based on what they already know, what they've learned from the first 2 lessons. 1 will be for the design stage, so the students will work together in pairs to basically see the different materials that they have and what they know about them, and decide as a whole what they would use to make their patch. We will dedicate 2 lessons for the create stage. Since they're younger, their motor skills haven't been properly developed completely, and we feel that having 2 lessons for the create stage would be enough time. We'll have 1 lesson for the evaluate stage, so it'll give the students a chance to reflect on what they've done again and what they could have done better, what worked and what didn't. And 1 lesson for the assessment piece, which follows up, which is the oral presentation.
Mm-hmm. So we'll get to the assessment in a second, but we're just looking at connecting this to the Australian National Curriculum, and especially the biological strain of science and the design technology, so knowledge, understanding and procedures and processes. So within the science, we're looking at how living things have basic needs like food, water and a habitat, as well as how objects can be observed, they have materials and properties. And within design, we're looking at how they can identify and design familiar things and design for a purpose. So they're designing their herb patches for the school. And we're looking at how plants are grown. We're looking at how the characteristics of products can influence them. The materials used, so what we want the materials for. And they're going to have to generate a product and record how they've done it. And that. So, we'll move on to assessment.
Yes. So I would like to hear about your first, probably your summative, and then formative assessment.
Okay, no worries.
Did you mention something about an oral presentation?
Yes, so for the summative assessment, obviously part of it is the design and creation of their herb patch, but the main aspect that we're going for in this unit is an assessment in the form of an oral presentation that the students have to perform. Now, this can be differentiated for students' needs, so students who aren't confident with performing in front of the class have the option of just performing in front of the teacher. However, if the students feel they can do it, they are more than welcome to present in front of their peers. We're just trying to encourage that sense of belonging and well-being and inclusiveness, and basically trying to build their confidence.
Yeah.
So again, what we're assessing summatively is the students' ability to design and create the herb patch, their ability to reflect on their processes and the materials they used and other aspects, and of course their ability to justify why they took certain measures and steps and chose specific materials to create their patch. And that's all going to be covered, hopefully, in their actual oral presentation.
Using that higher order thinking to justify the designs.
In terms of formative assessment, it's pretty basic, but we're going to be formatively assessing their ability to work in pairs. So basically seeing how well they work with other students, not just on their own. Their participation in class activities, which will be built from their knowledge and understanding, and as well as that, their progress, which links back to their progress at the end of each lesson to see how they're going with their work as well.
Okay. And in terms of the designing and creating the herb patches, what specifically are you looking for in those, like in the designs?
Of course. So we have 6 key stages that the students are going to have to design their products around. So we're going to have them look at materials. So they're going to be taught the importance of sustainability and how to use materials that are renewable. And they're looking at properties of materials, so which one might be more efficient or better to use for a certain task. Their product is also going to have to be renewable, so either a recycled product is used or a product that can be recycled. And their product will have to provide a way to have drainage or filtration, as we're looking at the plant's needs. So plants need water, they need to be able to drain in a herb box.
You don't want to flood it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Moving on from what Katie has said, those aspects are important as well, but following on from that, we have the 4th stage, which is the appropriate size ratio of the containers they're using. So in saying that, we're going to be showing students various examples of different sized herb patches that we ourselves have actually, or whoever's teaching that has actually pre-prepared. So if, 3 examples from photos, so 3 examples that we will be providing would be a small herb patch created out of a shoebox, a slightly larger one created out of a normal cardboard box, which is slightly thicker, and one created out of a giant water bottle. So basically just displaying different forms of renewable materials that they can make their product out of.
And I imagine that's to give them sort of a head start, to get them thinking about what sort of materials they can use.
Exactly. It just gives them a little nudge in the right direction, basically. In saying that too, with providing those examples, obviously we'll be having discussions with the students about the benefits as well as the negatives of the different sizes of boxes. Like for example, a larger box may be able to fit more herbs in it, but there might be the chance you have to use more water. Something else might happen as well, but that's something that the class can discuss with each other. Following on that, we have the durability of the herb patches. So in terms of materials, how long they would last, and which box or container would last the longest in terms of weather conditions. Basically just being in the environment and other things of that nature. So yeah, things like will the boxes last in an outdoor environment, which would be best in an outdoor environment, and other things like that, and weather events, as I mentioned as well. And the final one we have following that is the sturdiness, which is pretty similar to the last 2 aspects. So the sturdiness, so basically after planting the herbs and filling it with soil and watering it, will the box stay together? Will it keep its shape over time? Other things like, does it wobble or bend when placed on a different surface? Or does it weaken over time when it's exposed to soil, weather, and other elements? So again, linking back to durability and appropriate size, it's talking about which would be the best in that scenario while still being renewable and recyclable.
Okay, sounds really good, guys. I can see you've got transdisciplinary unit, so it incorporates design and technology as well as the science. So that's a good bonus that I didn't think of. It does have the real world context that I asked for, because they can use this at home, if they want to build it with their parents. Looking at ratio and doing the background research, it builds that literacy and numeracy, as well as the sustainability element of it. It is inquiry based. They have to find which is better long term, and it provides an opportunity for the students to be creative, which I like. There's only two possible weaknesses I can see with it. One would be they might not have enough time, would be my only worry. Because they are young and they need, as you said, their fine motor skills aren't properly developed, so they might need that extra bit of time. And the other one I could think of was that if we're having them outdoors, then things like bugs and other animals, and then the weather might have an adverse effect on their ability to measure how well the designs worked. So how would you get around that?
Well, in terms of that first issue, obviously it would be definitely improved with an increased amount of time. Relating it to the older years, if we were to do this unit with the older students, I do feel that that amount of time, extra time, may not be necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said, for the foundation, that definitely could be provided, depending on how many lessons a week the students do have to actually complete this unit. In terms of keeping it outdoors in the weather and the environment, ensuring that it's not affected in any way, one of the things we talked about as well was creating either a school, or creating a school greenhouse, or basically even just like a small building or shed that gives the patches enough light to sustain themselves, as well as protecting them from the adverse effects of the environment.
Okay, cool. Sounds very good. I'll take your plan under advisement, and I will get back to you. So thank you for meeting with me.
Thank you.